are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, everyone. This is Sherry Zhao, all the way from California. I'm going to be the host tonight, and for this amazing training that I have been excited for the past week or so. I have learned about tax, how we can save money from taxmen for ever since I think 10 plus years ago, but never really had this much. I never learned this much from this gentleman. Actually, last month when I hosted him, I learned so much. So I was so excited. I invited him back, and then I decided to invite him back and back and back again to share with the world how we can really save great money and actually get the taxman to pay you. So before we introduce our presenter tonight, I like to actually first bring a gentleman who I know personally for a little bit for the past while, and he is an entrepreneur himself. And he also gets thousands of dollars back from taxmen. And so let's bring Sebastian on the call first. And let me see if Sebastian's here. Sebastian, are you there with us?
Hi, Sherry. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. So, Sebastian, it's great that you're on this call with us. I heard a lot of great stories about you regarding the topic today. So, first of all, do you mind to share with the world here how old are you?
Hi, Sherry. Yeah, of course. I'm 21 years old right now. I'll be turning 22 on April 19th of this year, so
wow.
I'm obviously very excited for that.
Okay, so as young as you are, and I also heard you have been an entrepreneur for many years. So how young were you when you started to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I first started my traditional business when I was 18 years old. I was a university student at the time, and I did not want to flip hamburgers and French fries, so I decided that I would run my own painting business, and I did that for almost 3 years while I was in school. And then obviously I decided to obviously try some other projects and so on from there.
I see. So, as an entrepreneur, what have you learned from this entrepreneurship versus your other university friends who had a job?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank everyone who is on this call because, financial literacy is something that has become increasingly important to me, and of course Robert as well. But what I learned, especially young, was that when I took a look around at all my friends who I grew up with, the ones who had the nice homes, the nice cars, could go on vacations, could travel and spend time with their loved ones, what I found is that most of them, and if not all of them, their parents had businesses. And the one thing I learned really quick was that, tax laws were written by the rich for the rich. So there's so many more advantages to a business owner than someone who just works as an employee 9 to 5. And the way I looked at it, and I'm sure you might agree, is that if there was a way for me to pay less tax than I needed to, but it was the right amount, it wasn't more than I needed to, then of course I would want to learn about it and obviously implement it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in this case, I would assume that Robert is helping you with your taxes personally?
Yeah, that is correct. I use Robert personally, as well as many, many other people whom I know. And I got to tell you, before I used Robert, I can actually, recall this very, very clearly. I got to admit, I was nervous, right? Because I wasn't nervous of choosing Robert. I was just nervous of taxes in general. You know, growing up, I didn't learn about taxes in the classroom. No one really taught me anything about it. And, you know, after I had gone through and met Robert and he assisted me, it felt like I had 1,000 pounds just lifted off my shoulders. And, you know, since I had that feeling and that experience, Robert is actually doing my mother's taxes as well as my uncle's, and it's turned into, I guess, a family experience.
Wow, that's amazing. So in this case, do you mind to share with us how much that Robert helped you to get back from Taxman this year?
The answer to that question is actually for this year over $5,000.
Wow, that is amazing. Over $5,000. Do you get that previously, like before Robert? Because you are entrepreneur, saying for years already.
To answer that question, I never thought I would get back $5,000. I knew it could certainly be a possibility, but I got to tell you, I was very pleased to get that amount back. And the reason why I was obviously so pleased was because, you know, these are already things that we're spending money on, you know, internet, cell phone, gas, lease payments. So, you know, it was so great to obviously, you know, get that money back as opposed to paying taxes or only getting a little bit back.
Okay. Well, great. That's absolutely great news. Thank you so much for sharing with us this sort of personal information. But we are very grateful that you would do it for the for our attendees here. So in this case, would you please since you know Robert very well, I believe, and please introduce Robert to the call, and so we can listen to Robert what he has to share with us.
Sure. Well, before I do that, if you thought, that story was great, I know there's going to be some more stories shared towards the end of the call that are, even better. So, if you're on this call, the end of this call is going to be fantastic as well. But yes, let's get right to it because I know we have some people on the line who are just excited for this information. The individual who will be presenting tonight is definitely qualified on this topic. He has over 30 years of experience. To be exact, it's 35 years and counting. He has worked with some of Canada's and North America's largest corporations. He's helped many, many people become literate in the area of finances. He has a passion for sharing this information with people and a genuine, a genuine care to make sure that people are getting the right information. This is something that he preaches, and because he specializes in small business and business consulting as well, he's got so many great strategies and just a really great understanding of the subject and sharing that with people who might not know anything about it. So without further ado, I just want to make sure that we do have Robert here on the line. And we'll just do a quick sound check. Robert, can you hear me okay?
I absolutely can hear you fantastic. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. The call is yours, my
friend. Sorry, I just lost you.
You're good, Robert.
Hey, Robert. Like I said, the call is yours.
Okay, sorry, I lost you for a minute there. I didn't hear what you were saying. I didn't know if it had all gone.
No, we are good. We are good. We just mute ourselves and listen to you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Sebastian. It was very, very warm welcome. And thank you for clearing up the 30 plus. I usually leave that out of the picture, right? Let me just, there we go. So what we want to do is talk a little bit about getting the taxman to pay you. Now, getting the taxman to pay you is not nearly as hard as we think it is. In fact, just to give you a brief introduction, I am Robert Watterson. I'm Canadian federally licensed and provincially licensed. I have over 30 years experience in government, corporate, personal, finance, and taxation. I do business consulting and strategic planning out of our office in Caledon, Ontario. One of the disclaimers we like to go through just to make sure everybody understands clearly, everything we're talking about is specifically general information. It is specifically about business and finance. It's not specifically about your tax return. So you need to use advice from your own tax preparer or contact myself or another consultant before you move forward with anything. This is just information. So why are you here? Well, I hope you're here because you don't like to pay taxes and or you feel you're paying too much in taxes. Now, in Canada, we pay a lot of tax. In the United States, you pay pretty close to the same amount of tax. I have been looking into the U.S. side a lot closer, and believe it or not, they are Canadianizing the American tax system. So one of the things we pay is, of course, income tax, licenses, fees, hunting licenses, fishing licenses, driving licenses, renewal for your license plates. These are all considered taxes. That's why when you do renew your license sticker, there is an initial state tax or anything on it. It's already a tax. We also pay a ton of tax inside of fuel purchases. Exactly how much tax you pay is nearly impossible to figure out. CRA has a calculation for Canadians. I checked. IRS doesn't have a calculation because of the many jurisdictions, but you really don't want to read the 34,000 pages. It helps you to calculate your income tax anyway. The easier way would be look at your pay stub, see what is on your pay stub for state, federal, local, or provincial income tax, as well as federal income tax, Social Security and Canada Pension Plan in Canada, and different taxes of those natures. Everything that comes off your stub that isn't something you want it to come off is a tax. So although we can't really have any too many answers from a webinar, Economics 101 I like to go through with everybody regardless. Okay, so would you rather have $1 saved or $1 earned? Think about it for a moment and consider having $1 that you have in your pocket or in the bank, or earning $1 at your place of employment. Which would be better for you? Well, if you have $1, you already have $1. If you earn $1, you have about 67 cents. So in reality, you want $1 saved first. So would you like to learn some more benefits about having a home-based business in relation to income tax deductions? You'll notice I don't say tax refunds. I do say savings there, but I'm really talking about income tax deductions, especially when you are considering a home-based business and business expenses. They create deductions. They do not create tax refunds. But the tax deductions create savings and refunds. So it's really the deductions that you're looking for. Every North American taxpayer who works a full-time job and does not have a home-based business is probably overpaying their income tax from $2,000 to $10,000 per year. I say $2,000 to $10,000 even though your screen says $3,000 to $9,000 because Sandy Botkins has updated that with his new book. Sandy Botkins, of course, is an author, a U.S. tax professional, an IRS general counsel previously, which means he was in charge of the legal side of things there. And, of course, Robert Kiyosaki has told us that tax laws are not fair. And if you want to make them fair, you have to act like the rich. It's the only way to level the playing field. So what types of expenses can we claim? Well, there are rules about what you can deduct. For CRA, you can find them on the CRA website. Like I said, it's about 12,000 pages, or 14,000 pages. In the U.S., publication 587 and 583 will talk to you about the different types of deductions for small business, and you'd need to complete Schedule C of the 1040. This is where we talk a little bit more about Sandy and how he has changed his opinion on tax savings. Now, if you're in the United States, you should be saving $2,000 to $10,000 per year. And these are the types of expenses that you can use, of course: internet connection, cell phone, computer, business startup costs, advertising, trips that involve your business. Now, this is a big one for GWT because most businesses are not global. With GWT, our name is Global Wealth Trade for a reason. So anywhere you travel in the world can be part of your business. Also, a percentage of rent and/or mortgage insurance interest. We have a form that you can use to do a rough calculation. Now, sometimes we do this live, but I have got a pre-canned one that I'm going to go through this week. Part of the reason for that is that we have a result to show you. So here in our example, you have approximately $120 in cell phone bills, approximately $100 a month in internet bill, approximately $250 or $500 at 50% for meals, $100 a month for office expense. We've balanced out the travel to $154.66 just because the actual annual amount was $18.56. Promotion of around $169.50. Now that represents only a IA payment per month for a diamond. There are more promotions that you can put in there easily if you're running the business. Rent has been left blank here because the gentleman who we will be discussing in this case lives with his parents and he doesn't pay rent or own a home. But if you did, you would be able to include roughly 20% of those expenses in there as well, including items like property tax, repairs to the home, roof if you needed a new roof, new driveway, new carpeting, painting. All of those things can be calculated in there. And we've used $3,500 as a business expense because that's the approximate cost to start your Diamond VDM. Now under auto expenses, well, that gives you a total, that gives you a total of $14,230 as you see in annual expenses that are deductible. Now when we include the car, we include auto insurance, fuel, maintenance, and lease finance and or depreciation on the vehicle. Depending upon whether it's leased or financed, we can claim the interest and depreciation. And in this case, we're calculating it at $500 roughly per month, giving us a total of $16,920 per year to run the automobile. Now that is not far off the average cost in North America to operate an automobile. However, because it is a business, we're claiming 50% of that, so $8,460. So when we take the $8,460 and the $14,230, we come up with approximately $22,690 in deductible expenses. Now, if your income tax rate was approximately 31%, and that's where this gentleman's tax rate actually sat, was very close to that. That's what we call the mean tax rate, so at the end of the year after all deductions. Because don't forget, as you would increase your deductions, you also decrease your income tax percentage. So you save money by paying less tax, and you save money by paying a lower percentage in tax. So in this case, it gave us approximately $7,034 that you would receive as a tax refund. And as you can see here as a screenshot from his bank account, on March 25th, the federal government deposited $7,032 into his bank account. That's why we use the pre-canned explanation, because we can show that it actually works. So how to track your expenses. Keep everything. I don't know how to express this enough. Keep all your receipts, all your invoices, all your bills. Keep everything. If you pay for something on the internet, print the receipt. The paper and the ink are tax deductible anyway. Print the receipt, keep it, and use it for your income tax. Be detailed on your notes. If you're audited, we want to be able to say exactly what it was that you were doing the expense for, whatever that expense may be. If you were with somebody or it was an event of any kind, we want to know who, what, when. If it's office supplies, what was it for? Online tools are available to keep track of all of your expenses, as well as taking photographs of bills so that you can keep your meal receipts, for example. If you go out to dinner with 7 people and 7 people all pay for their own meal, and all you've done is split the bill, you have 1 bill. So rather than send the poor girl or guy back to print you 6 more bills, just take 7 photographs of the bill and then write on your amount. It makes it easy for you and easier for your waitress or waiter. You can use a simple spreadsheet, which just write it down on a piece of paper what your expenses are and attach your receipts to it. You can use an Apple or Android apps. For car mileage, you should always track your business mileage for your car. Now, the easiest way I've found to do that is list or keep a piece of paper in the car or a little book, and when you go on a business trip or you're driving somewhere for business, set your trip tick to 0, write down where you're going on the piece of paper. When you get home, look at your trip tick and write down the number of miles or kilometers that you've traveled. If you know your startup at the first of the year, how much your mileage is and how much it is at the end of the year, we can then add up all those little trips and we can give a full and detailed description of your mileage. You can get a 12-month folio from Staples, which is basically a accordion file, and you can drop all your receipts in it for each month. I recommend that, well, one that's a January through December. As you drop your receipts in there, remember that at the end of the month you should go back and total them up. It's easier to total them once a month, or you can wait till the end of the year to total them up yourself, if you like. Write down on the receipt, right on the receipt, write down things that you need to keep track of. One of the things you need to do is, if it was a meal, who was there? Every single person who was at that meal, whether you're paying for their meal or not, that is what justifies the expense. Rewrite the date and the amount of the bill, especially if it's a meal receipt that's come off of one of those heat-censored printers, because in 3 to 4 months you're not going to be able to read it necessarily. And IRS and CRA do not do audits 3 or 4 weeks later. They do them 3 or 4 years later. And you have to explain what it's about or it gets zeroed out. Write down the purpose of the meeting, whether it was an introduction for anything, a tour or a presentation, training. So if you were doing a launch pad, a next 30 days, a product compensation, a convention even, tax training, any type of training at all of the expenses are either part of your travel or part of your expense, your regular business expenses. Even when you're going to launch a VDM with somebody, helping them join, that's considered part of it. Sorry. Did I lose you?
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. I had a sound come across the board there. I thought I dropped everything.
Right, that was an echo.
The next thing. Okay, no problem. One of the things that doesn't cost much, and we really don't have to do much in the way of tracking, is follow-up. However, if you don't do follow-up, you don't have a business. So whatever it does cost you to do follow-up, keep track of it and deduct it. But the main thing is remember to follow up. If you follow up and follow up and follow up with people until they join or launch their VDM, you'd be amazed how many years sometimes later that some people have come back and actually launched with some of our RAs. So business tracking expense templates. You can read through publication 587 and 583 to give you a really good idea of the types of deductions, although we've already covered them. You can also look at the website www.rgwt.com, the training side. On the left-hand side, you will notice that there is a whole list of types of training. One of them is taxation. There is a tracking sheet right on there that you can use. Okay. What else do you need? One of the things that you need to know is specifically how to track and how to keep your expenses, what type of expenses you need, but what else beyond what type of expenses do you need? Okay? You need to know that even whether in Canada or in the U.S., you are either a sole proprietorship or a small business, whichever way you want to look at it. If you're a corporation, it's a whole nother story and another discussion for another day. You need to know the publication, which is called the 1040 Schedule C, Publication 587-583, or the T2125 for Canadian business activities. You need to total your expenses. Now, the reason I say you need to total your expenses is because you can hire somebody to take care of your business return for you, and they will do everything necessary to get your return filed. If you haven't totaled your expenses, that means they're going to total them, and you will pay for that. Because if you have an accountant spend time doing your work, you'll pay for it. Also, you need to have a good retirement plan. Any business nowadays, and especially with the way things are going in the retail market, Canada has had a disastrous first quarter. As far as jobs go, the United States is not far behind, so we have to make sure that we're ready for retirement as well as having a plan B. What else do you need? Well, I think you need to have advice. Regardless, unless you're experienced at doing it, regardless what you want to do, you need to have some advice on how to get it done. You need to talk to a professional. You need to know how to complete the Schedule C of the 1040. You need to know how to complete a T2125. There are a lot of questions on there. Just because you can fill in most of the blanks doesn't mean you're going to be able to pass an audit. Okay? One of the things that we want to do is make sure that you have no headaches in the future, not just get the paperwork completed today. So I suggest you use a tax professional or a small business consultant with a tax background. And you have to remember that not all preparers are specialists and not all business people are tax preparers. So you need to interview the person. And one of the things I hear the most often is, you can't claim that, you shouldn't claim that, don't worry about claiming that. If somebody says those words to you, tell them that you're fired and go find somebody else, because they're simply lazy. They're trying not to do what needs to be done. You can actually earn some income and have somebody tell you not to bother filing your tax return. Even if you earned $100, you are guilty of tax evasion on both sides of the border. The law is the same. So you have to decide whether you want to have a work-tirement or a retirement. Because remember, it's not how much you earn, it's how much of it that you get to keep. So why do I say that? Well, part of it is because you need to calculate how much you need to earn or how much you need to live on in retirement. Will it be $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, or $5,000 a month? If it's $5,000 a month, don't forget there's income tax involved. In fact, if it's $1,000 a month, chances are that's actually $700 in your pocket. So if you don't have a mortgage, you don't have any payments, you don't have any kids, you don't really care whether you eat or not, you may be able to survive. So remember, it's not how much you make or how much you can earn, it's how much you can keep. Forbes magazine did a study, and they said that the Americans believe that 52% of Americans believe that they will work until the day they die. That is a very harsh number and very sad statistic to listen to. Unfortunately, they were wrong. According to U.S. economics and calculations right now, it's about 82% of Americans, especially, of U.S. citizens who will not be able to retire until they recover from the past 5 years, especially. What you need to know that if you need to have $500 or $5,000 a month as income, you would need to have $1.2 million in the bank earning 5% to get $5,000 per month. Or $10,000 per month would mean you have to have $2.4 million in the bank. That sounds pretty hard to do. I don't know of a lot of people who can throw $2.4 million in the bank and just sit back and live on the residuals. However, it is not that difficult to build your VDM over the next 10 years or 5 years so that you're receiving a residual of $5,000 or $10,000 income. If your residual income is $10,000 per month, congratulations, you're a multimillionaire. That's the equivalent of having $2.4 million sitting in your bank account. So when you do retire, where is the money going to come from? The government? From old age security? From Canada pension plan? From a corporate plan that you have? Or do you plan on being a greeter at Walmart or working for McDonald's? Would you like fries with that? Or would you prefer a strategic retirement plan that is completely controlled by you? And how do we do that? Well, first of all, let's look at what you have currently in your retirement plan. Are you currently planning on retiring? Have you considered your mortgage, your utilities, your travel while you're retired, your medical expenses, car expenses, helping your children? Because especially with the way times go, even when you're in retirement, you're probably going to want to help your children. And I've talked to a lot of people about retirement planning and strategic, sitting down and trying to map out a plan, and they're shocked when they say they'll have no mortgage. And I say, okay, so does that mean you're not going to have to pay your gas, your hydro, your property taxes? And they had never considered that. All they thought of was, when my mortgage is paid off, my house is free. So would you rather have a business and retirement together in one, where you can save $3,000 to $9,000 in taxes today while setting up your own strategic retirement plan, which you can contribute to on a monthly basis, and you can earn even more money and set up a plan that will pay for your retirement in full? Did you want to come back on here and talk a little bit about about the meeting on Thursday night, Sebastian?
Hi, Robert. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the opportunity. This message is regarding anyone in the Tri-City, which is Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo area, as well as the Greater Toronto area. This Thursday, April 16th, between the hours of 7:30 to 9 p.m., we're actually going to be having a tax strategy presentation. We're really, really excited about it because obviously, as you've just witnessed, there is so much money on the table here that people may be missing out on, and we just want to show them, the benefits that are available to them. So thank you, Robert, for that opportunity.
No problem. So if you do need to contact us, we're Watterson Financial Solutions. Facebook, Watterson Financial Solutions, or Robert Watterson. My email is rwatterson@rogers.com. 647-403-5381 is our number. We also have, I also talk on Skype or anything like that if you need to get hold of us. And we will deal with both Canadian and American advice. And that's why we call Global Wealth Trade the freedom business, because it is proven lucrative and it literally sells itself. Are you still there, Sherry?
Absolutely. How can I miss that? Thank you so much, Robert, for your wonderful training tonight. It's we all learned a lot from you. So I believe people all have a lot of questions for you, but so we will take this opportunity to take the questions and answer. So what people can do, if you do have any questions, please put in the chat box that's at the bottom of the system here you have. So put in the questions and we will take care of all the questions you may have. In the meantime, I like to I think there are two gentlemen that we know that you helped save thousands of dollars, actually put in thousands of dollars in their bank account. We do have two gentlemen here, other than Sebastian. So I like to invite these two gentlemen to talk about, what they do and what they have done and to get those thousands of dollars back. So do we have, Sebastian, do we have, first, do we have Eddie here with us? Sebastian?
Hi, Sherry. Eddie will be joining us. Sherry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Eddie will be joining us very, very shortly, but I do see Tyler Cabral on the call.
Okay.
If you could unmute him, that would be fantastic.
Eddie, no, Eddie is not, Taylor, right?
Yep, Tyler Cabral. I can unmute him if you'd like. I believe I have that capability.
Yeah, you know him very well. Please, go through some short interview with Taylor would be great.
Hi, Sherry. This is Lior.
Hello, Lior. Hi.
Hi, I'm here in Montreal. We have a room full of people, and we have some people with questions.
Excellent, Lior. So before we hit on the questions, can we have Taylor to share about his story first? Do you mind? Hello? Did I lose everyone here? Do we still have everyone here? Sebastian, are you still there with me?
Yep, Sherry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. So I think Lior just mute himself, and if we can have Taylor to share, would be great.
Okay, great. Tyler, I'm going to unmute you right now. Tyler, can you hear me okay? You're unmuted.
Sebastian, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for being on the call. I actually was just as excited as you were, a few weeks ago when you received your tax return. So if you don't mind telling people, what is your background, what do you do, and as a result of having a home-based business, what was possible for you with regards to tax advantages?
Absolutely. And so basically, I come from a construction background. I've been doing this now for about 5 years now. Very physical job. Really takes a toll on the body, that's for sure. But when I got into business with GWT, I wasn't aware of the tax laws the rich use. And when I basically made myself aware of this, I started to take advantage of those tax laws that the rich use, and I was able to claim certain expenses like my car and everything to do with my car, like gas, insurance, maintenance. I was able to claim my cell phone bills, and this is all a certain percentage. My cell phone bills, internet, and the list goes on, along with your business expenses and all of that as well. So when Robert Watterson, who's actually my accountant, he actually did my taxes, and at the end of everything, my magic number was $7,032.94.
Wow. Well, that is absolutely incredible, Tyler. Thank you so much for sharing. And, it just goes to show you what's powerful once people get the education they need around taxes. So thank you so much, Tyler.
No problem. No problem, Sebastian. Thank you for having me on the call.
That is great. Wow. 7,000. What are you going to do with this much money? I think a lot of people would love to have $7,000 back to their pockets, from Uncle Sam especially. So at this moment, we have a...
Sherry, sorry for a sec.
Yeah? Hello?
Yeah. Hopefully that number sounds familiar to people,
Right.
because that's the example we used. And that young man has a baby on the way. So I think I know where some of that money is going.
Wow, congratulations. That is big news. I mean, you can easily plan that money out. I know how that works with baby. The 7,000 is a great start. Excellent. So, do we have Eddie here, Sebastian?
Yes, we do, and I'm obviously aware to the fact that there's probably so many questions coming in, so thank you everyone for your patience. We will have one more testimonial here, and then we will answer those questions right away. I'm going to unmute a young gentleman here. Hopefully he can hear me. Eddie Brenes, you're unmuted. Can you hear us okay?
Absolutely. I hope everyone's having a good night, and thanks again for having me on the call here. Like Sebastian said, I know that a bunch of you probably do have questions, just as I had, and are eager to get them out. So I'll be brief here. And the message I just want to get across here is, I didn't realize how important it is to lead by tax savings to build this business, if you're in North America at least. Renee always talks about it, and it didn't hit home to me till recently, where we actually started doing our own tax strategy seminars, and we're actually doing them this Thursday, and it just makes sense. Some people have this belief that maybe you can't help enough people get what they want through this business, but where's the risk when you get back nice juicy checks like Tyler did? And for myself, my refund was $3,500. And to me that helps a lot to pay bills, or to for instance, for myself, I want to reinvest that money to create more income. So once I realized how important it is to lead by tax savings, it just makes all the difference now, because people want to invite people to an event where they can learn how to save money as well. Sometimes they have this belief that they don't want to invite them to a business event. But how easy is it to ask someone, hey, I just learned about this amazing opportunity where you can save $3,000 to $9,000 in taxes. It's so easy to promote that, and that's why Renee is sitting at $100,000 plus a month, because he built his business based on leading with taxes. So, that's the message I wanted to get across tonight. And thanks again for having me on the call, Sebastian and Sherry. And Robert, as always, you do a great job presenting, and thanks again for your time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Eddie. We really appreciate you sharing that. And I am now going to pass the call over to Sherry and Robert. Looks like we've got quite a few questions coming in, so we'll take the time now to answer those.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Thank you so much, Sebastian. You guys are doing absolutely great job, and thank you so much for sharing with us how much you're actually getting back from Uncle Sam, and this is truly great. And let me first of all, before we take the questions, I want to actually also share with you guys our tax expert, Robert Watterson, has talked about a few times diamond VDMs and, global wealth trade, and talk about a little bit, but for some of you may not even understand what he was talking about, because you never heard about global wealth trade, or you have never been one of our tour that we have. So what I'd like to share with you is this upcoming Thursday. And we have two young, really ambitious entrepreneurs going to host a webinar this upcoming Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the Toronto time or Montreal time, if you are on the East Coast. And it's going to be 6 p.m. Pacific time here in California. We are going to have this webinar hosted by Maria Gaderi, which is our youngest regional ambassador, and we also have ambassador, the first ambassador in the USA, Marshall Wynn. It's going to, these two young, very ambitious entrepreneurs will do this webinar. The details I can send it to you. If you send me a request, you can always email me or find me on Facebook. My Facebook is under Sherry Zhao. Or you can email me at Ferry, F-E-R-I, at sherryzhao.com, SHERYZHAO.com. So I will send you the details about these live webinars we are going to have on Thursday. And so the questions are coming in. And first of all, let's take the live questions from Montreal. And Lior, are you there with us? Hello, Lior?
Yeah, I'm here. I think Hi, Sherry, can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. So we have our diplomat here in Montreal, Patrick Dequile, who's got the first question.
So the question that I have for Robert is, let's say, because this year, luckily me, I got started before the year ended, so I did my income taxes and I got back $5,000 from the government. But I don't know anything about accounting, and so yesterday somebody from the team did a tour with an accountant, and then he was asking me certain questions that I had no idea, what he was talking about. From a professional point of view, what I wanted to ask Robert is, when someone's asking you about questions, because I just know that I got a check, how would you reply to this accountant, how a home-based business is more beneficial than a traditional business?
Well, the easiest way to respond to a question like that, or any question that you're not positive of the answer of, is to let them know that you're not an expert in that field. You have personal experience in what's happened for you, but let's get you in touch with somebody who does and get on a three-way call. You can always call me, and I will talk with them, or there are other tax professionals around as well. But definitely let them know that we're more than interested in discussing it with them. The main difference between a home-based business and a traditional business is overhead. Everything else is pretty much the same, tax-wise.
Perfect. Sorry, Robert?
Yeah.
Do you speak French? We have someone here who is a French speaker. If you understand French, he had a question for you.
Unfortunately, no, I don't.
No? Okay, maybe I could translate it. Is that okay?
No problem.
No, it was because Robert. Hello, Robert. No, because you spoke about the three-way call.
Bonjour.
You don't speak French. We need to do a three-way call in English. That's it. Now I have your answer.
So his question just was, because you don't speak French, and we have some French speakers here in Quebec, well, anyways, we answered because you're English, so what we're going to do is we're going to find somebody, who could do what you do in French.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any more questions here for Robert?
No, thank you.
All right, thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, Lior.
Thank you, Montreal. So now we are taking care of the questions from people typing in. So we have Christine. I believe Christine is German, and Germany, right? And she said, is the example for someone who is full time in the business or someone who is part time? So the example that you said just now about I think the example of the one of your clients you put out there, is that gentleman doing the business full time or part time?
For me?
Robert, yes.
Yeah. Most of my clients are doing the business part-time. I'm not, I have a few full-time clients that are full-time, but the majority of them are part-time.
Okay.
And the examples we used are all part-time.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So that question is answered. So the next question is from Ali. He said, question 1, how about if we travel to U.S. outside of Canada and spend U.S. dollars? How can we record that? The conversion of the U.S. dollar and the Canadian dollar at date of the travel or at the end of the year?
Well, what we usually do, the best thing to do if you're going to travel, especially if you're going to travel multiple times, is to take some cash with you, go to the bank and get the cash converted into the exchange, into the currency that you're traveling to, and that would be your exchange rate. Now, if you're using a credit card, the exchange rate is automatically calculated for you. So it's only cash that we have to worry about. Everything else is calculated when you do your when they charge your credit card. So if you buy something in the United States, they're going to charge you in U.S. funds and convert it to your home currency anyway.
Well, for someone like me, Robert, I have a Canadian dollar card and I have a U.S. dollar card.
Right.
So, how do I do it? Like, should I like calculate the daily conversion, or should I calculate at the end of the year?
Well, if you're using your Canadian dollar card when you travel to Canada, obviously you're not going to have a conversion, and that's the best way to do it because the bank doesn't get to rip you off terribly. But there is an official, every year they compile an official exchange rate that can be used, or you can get some information of when you transfer into cash. As long as it's within 30 days, they usually accept that exchange rate for the trip.
That's right.
But otherwise, they do post every year an exchange rate for every country.
That's right. Okay, great. Thank you.
That especially works because sometimes people earn money year-round in another country, so they have to have an annual conversion rate.
Right. Thank you so much. The other question is kind of technical. Is that T2125? Is this the form number for across the different province?
It's the federal number. So with that, you have to fill that form out if you're filing a Canadian tax return in any province, including Quebec. And in Quebec, you would have to file an extra form on the Quebec return.
Right. So, and we have Laura was asking. I was talking to my LC. She started in 2008. She hasn't done anything, but she's paying her IA since day one until now. Can she claim the business expense listed?
Well, that's an individual situation where I'd like to sit down with the person and discuss a few things.
Right.
Partly because depending upon what's happened since 2008 and what she has calculated and what she has reported, there may be a crime involved, so I can't really speak about that.
That's right. Absolutely.
I'd have to speak to the person themselves in private.
Yes.
Right? Because I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
That's right.
And I don't want to be, I don't want to say something that comes out sounding like I'm telling somebody to break the law, because I don't want them to.
Right.
The way that we file our tax returns, every single LC that files a tax return affects every LC in North America. So every American LC filing their tax return, if you have a lot of them that are doing great, then they're not going to bother GWT LCs. Same in Canada. But if you
Right.
have everybody lying and, you know, being dishonest, which is not happening in GWT, by the way, but in other companies it does, and they tell you to do it,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to audit everybody.
That's right.
Right back to head office. So I recommend everybody do it as close to the law as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some laws that we can bend, and I don't mind bending the law, but we cannot break them,
Mm-hmm.
and we must report everything. It is literally, in both Canada and the U.S., a crime to not report income. So if you sell a watch and your business expenses way outweigh your income, and you say, forget it, I'm not going to file that on my return, that is a crime.
That's right.
And what they would do is they would take 100% of your income, disallow 100% of your expenses, calculate the income tax on it, double the income tax on it, then charge you a 20% fine, and then 1% per month from the date that it was due to be paid.
Wow.
And that's how they calculate the penalties.
Wow.
So if you ever, and that includes if you have somebody sign up underneath you and you made $50, you have to file your tax return.
Mm-hmm.
That's the law.
Yes.
Right? Because where do we draw the line? Do we say, oh, you don't have to bother filing it if it's $50 or $500 or $5,000 or $5 million?
Mm-hmm.
Where do we draw the line?
Mm-hmm. That's
We
great.
just had a very large tax audit with Revenue Canada that actually normally an audit that's for a 2-year period, and that this audit was covering a 2-year period. Normally they take about 18 months to settle out.
Uh-huh.
We started the audit in October,
Right.
and by November we had received a response. We responded back to them in kind, and actually we won the audit to the point where the person is getting, instead of having to pay back $6,000 or $7,000, they're going to get $4,000 or $5,000.
Wow.
We already have finalized the return, and we justified it by using the business model of GWT.
Right.
So right now the business, well, anytime the business model is so strong that it is impenetrable by Revenue Canada. They cannot say that it is not a legitimate business, and they cannot disallow your expenses as long as they're legitimate expenses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very important. Thank you so much, Robert, for that. And so you help this individual save, not only not have to pay the penalty of $1,000, but help the person get back $1,000 from
That's
the
correct.
audit.
Right. What they did is they filed their tax return themselves for 2011 and 2012, and they were being audited for that and disallowed 100% of their expenses.
Wow.
And we reversed that to the point where they were getting cash back from Revenue Canada.
That is very strong. Thank you so much for that. Great. So we do have a few more questions. Let's take care of those questions. Let's say, how do we claim the inventory account, the IA? Because it's for us, it's we use IA to buy products for ourselves, and we use that also to, you know, because we wear and share, right? So it's also a marketing piece. So which category do we put this IA? Which category we put in as a bonus product as far as for taxes?
Okay, for IA for taxes, we have 3 categories we can calculate it under. We actually have an inventory allowed, like there's a spot where you can count inventory. So you can put it into your inventory and take it out as you use it and sell it, if your entire use is for selling. If you are using 100% of your IA for promotional use, then it can go all under promotional, or part under inventory and part under promotional. The other area we can claim it on is a business management fee, because if your IA is simply something extra that you get, that in addition to claiming your residual income, you cannot get your residual income check if you're not paying your IA. Therefore, it is a business expense as part of your IA, or as part of your business. So to claim your residual income, so to get a $500 check, you have to pay $150. Well, that's part of your business expense, the expense of doing business.
Right.
So it really depends on the model of the business as to which way I would claim it for them.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 options.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. Well,
And
you know the
that's
model of
probably
the
more
business
confusing.
very well.
Sorry?
So I said you know the model of the business very well. So maybe it's also an individual question in that case.
It would be an individual question as to how they model their business. It's not really the modeling of how the model of GWT works. It's how the model of their business works. Are they doing retail a lot and buying everything with their IA?
Right.
Then I would put it in inventory, right? Or exactly how is it, if they use all of their IA for promotional use, they could go there.
Right.
It depends on what they're doing.
So you said 3 points, right? So first will be on the category of inventory, and the second will be under the category of promotion.
Right.
And then what's the third one?
Business management.
Business management. Interesting.
Or dues. Yeah, there are fees that businesses have to pay to remain in business. That's where you claim your annual renewal. You can claim your IA in the same location.
Is it under subscription?
Yes, subscriptions is one of the items that's on the same line. Yes.
Right, just like we subscribe monthly, say we subscribe monthly like a magazine, and say it's an entrepreneur magazine, and we need to always get updated information, knowledge. So it's under the same category.
Yes.
It could be. Okay, so that's business fees. Okay.
Right.
That's a very good question.
Your annual renewal goes there.
Yes, yes. It's like subscribe for something for business, basically.
Right.
Okay.
You'll notice it says dues, management. There's lots of different things in there.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. The next question will be for someone who has another business, can we do tax together with GWT business with the other business?
I usually recommend doing a separate T2125.
Okay.
If they're both home-based businesses or a traditional business that's a sole proprietorship. The reason for that is the category of expenses.
Right. One is a cleaning business that the lady is owning. So she has her cleaning business. She has some employees. So she ran that business, and then she also part of Global Wall Trade. So and she's doing very actively building the Global Wall Trade as well. So these are the two two totally different businesses. But one is like more traditional, but it doesn't have a store or anything. But it's like go to people's house and do cleaning. Manage a few employees under the as a business too.
Right. Yeah, and it depends. That again is one where you'd sit down and talk to the client. But as a rule, I put each business under a separate return.
Okay.
Because you can put in as many T2125s as you want.
Right.
But there are certain places I want to categorize expenses in the best areas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you really literally you only have one bill for each things, right? Like I mean, you go have meal and you can talk about cleaning, you can talk about a GWT.
Right. Yeah. So you would want to do a little bit of juggling back and forth as far as your expenses go as well as looking at where your income is coming from.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Right. That's true.
So if you were making a lot of money in the cleaning business and you were claiming a lot of meals, I'd probably put them under the cleaning business. Because it makes sense that you're talking more about the cleaning business than the GWT because you're making more money there.
That's right.
But I wouldn't necessarily put the IA in the cleaning business because it doesn't necessarily work as well.
Right.
Plus, for an accountant, quite often we want to keep track of how each business is doing separately.
Right.
Right? So just for business planning in the future, you want to know which is doing what.
Right.
So if you mix everything together, it can be a bit of a mess as to try to figure out, well, what did well
Yeah.
and what didn't. And
Yes.
whether you should incorporate or not
Yeah.
incorporate. When that question comes into play, you want to be able to have clean answers, not confusing ones.
That's right. So we have a good question from someone who is considering joining a global world trade. Are you allowed to claim the initial enrollment fee as diamond or gold?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So,
for any level.
okay.
Whether it's from retail up to diamond, you can
Mm-hmm.
claim the cost of anything that you pay to GWT is deductible, period.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what it is. If you pay it into your back office, it's deductible one way or another.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So that's great. And we also have someone from Europe, and she's asking like, do you have information on European tax laws? We have many LCs in Europe who like to use the same training based on their country laws. And what do you recommend for our Europe luxury consultants?
Well, it depends on how they're doing it. Most of their VAT tax is based on income, and when they do, their system is slightly different than ours. However, the expenses are the same worldwide. No matter where you are, if it costs you 50 cents for something, it costs you 50 cents. So you would apply the same type of rules. You may need to look at the individual countries or jurisdictions as far as what's deductible and everything like that. But as a rule, if it's something you're spending to make money, it's deductible against money you made.
Yeah.
So the same rules apply everywhere.
Right.
That way.
Right. And the other good question is, what about the tickets for conventions and boot camps? How where those under the category? Which category do they go under?
They go under convention.
There is a category called convention?
No, you have to add it, but there is a category. Revenue Canada simply didn't put it on the form, but down at the bottom of the form, there's a spot that says other.
Uh-huh.
And you are allowed to deduct 2 conventions per year. Now, if you're talking about a boot camp, that's a training. But for convention, you put a convention under convention, and you put boot camp under personal improvement. Both of those have to be added to the form.
That's right.
If you put 12 boot camps under convention, they will disallow 10 of them.
Why?
Only 2 conventions per year are allowable.
So where do we put the boot camp?
Boot camps go under personal improvement.
Oh,
or personal development.
Okay, personal development. Okay.
Yeah, but anything to do with a convention, including travel, whatever, is all deductible, and you put it on under convention.
Okay, so you can create one as a convention. Okay, great. That's good to know. Thank you. And then we also have another question on as an individual on expenses in general, like a cell phone, gas. Do I get HST back?
If you are HST registered, yes. If you are not HST registered, no, you don't really. Although on your return you can claim an HST rebate. However, I don't recommend it because it's just an extra headache that you don't need. It doesn't get you enough money back to count because they do it prorated and everything else. But if you are HST registered, then yes, you do claim it as an input tax credit.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Christine said in Germany we have the so-called small business regulations where you can start your home-based business and can save taxes. That's great. Thank you, Christine. And to answer the question that Christine has, Robert, are you single? He's not single. I don't know why you're asking. No, Robert has a lovely wife called Sandra.
Just as she asked that question, my wife of 33 years almost walked down the stairs.
Okay. I think we have pretty much all the questions answered here. I'm glad that the lady who's asking questions in Europe is not in Canada. So don't worry, Sandra, you are safe.
One thing, especially in Europe and across the U.S., and some of the things that you may want to look at too is that a lot of states and European countries offer tax credits or cash credits to assist you in setting up a small business. So there is a potential for getting actual cash from the government in order to assist you to getting a small business set up.
Right.
This business qualifies as a small business. In most cases, some require you to have employees because the idea is that small business is what will run the world.
Yes, absolutely.
When in the United States, when they look at the economy, more money is put into the tax system through small business than through major business or individuals combined.
Right.
So there is a lot of emphasis, a lot of assistance to get small business going in a lot of places.
Right. Great. And I just want to add some additional things that we talked about last time. And basically, you talk about the car wash is deductible because we are in the image business, correct?
Right. Yeah.
And the clothes. So dress, clothes, and all this can be taxable or no?
Well, wardrobe is tax deductible.
Wardrobe, like business related.
Clothing that you require to wear to, like if you're going to a
Convention.
special presentation or a convention or something like that, there is a percentage of wardrobe that you could write off, both men and women. But we don't call it clothing, it's wardrobe. And that can include hair, nails, that sort of thing.
Okay, that's great. So I think a lot of ladies like that. Your hair, your nails, and your wardrobe that's business related can be claimed, correct?
Again, keep the receipt, write down what it was for, where you were going.
Right. And we talk about incentives. The incentives can be like the leaders, like we do give out incentives, like Sean, they give out silver and gold coins. Like Leo give out those travel expenses, like travel, and we like Tammy and myself, we actually give out cash. So which category are those, and how we claim the incentive when we give out cash?
Okay, so how you claim incentives is you're required to keep a list of how much money you give to and who you give it to if it's cash.
Yeah.
And you claim it as promotion. Right,
okay.
At the very top, it's promotional. Now, if you can also use gift cards and other items like that, and you just claim the receipts for whatever it is that you purchase as promotional.
Right, but the problem is if we give out cash, there's no proof.
Well, you have to keep track of who you give money to.
Okay.
Now, if you're giving out a large amount of cash, you can ask for the person to sign for it. This is a little bit of a warning. Anybody who does receive a promotion of that nature must include it as income on their tax return.
Oh, good to know.
So if you give somebody $400 because they signed up 6 diamonds, that $400 had better appear on their T2125 form.
What about the person is from Nigeria?
Right? What about them? I'm sorry.
Well, the winner is from Nigeria.
Right.
So we give the cash to the person, but they don't really claim a 2125 or whatever form in Nigeria.
Right. So they follow whatever their tax rules are, but you have to write down who you gave it to.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, the last one will be the networking event. So I know my partner Tammy Fong and also Chris and a lot of people that I know personally, they like to go to different networking events. The proceeds for those networking events, say if it's a meal or whatever they do at networking event, they spend money over there. Where that go under?
Networking event just goes under expenses. It depends what it is.
Right.
If it's, you go to a networking event, some of them you have to buy something to eat. That's meal. That would go under meal.
Okay.
If it's a fee to be there, it's a subscription.
Right, right. And what about actually go back to the incentive and we actually pay for someone's trip to go somewhere? Is that is that accounting as like how we claim that?
Same way. You claim it as promotion.
Okay.
The same thing for them though. They must claim it as income.
Right, right. Okay. I think we got a lot of questions answered, and it's great. Thank you so much for all the all the answers you give to us. It's incredible. I mean, a lot of accountants. I mean, they are like they are licensed accountants, and they don't even give this much answers to us, and they don't even know as much. So I appreciate that what you do, and you are helping a lot of people change their lives here. And
there are a lot of accountants too that don't believe in financial literacy because it reduces the potential for clients.
And that's correct.
Right. So if I teach you too much, you might do your own paperwork. In my case, that's not my concern. My biggest driver is financial literacy, not building up my clientele to the point that I can't do service everybody properly.
That's right. Well, I actually recommend people still go for professionals instead of doing everything yourselves. I mean, even though you learn how to do your bookkeeping, but you don't really know how to how to do it professionally. So that's good. It's great. We actually have one more person like to share a couple words. And this lady is from Winnipeg, and she actually also had a great story about her tax return this year. Virgie, are you there? Hello? Virgie, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Yes, now I can.
Oh, hi.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Shirley.
Yeah. So we are running a little bit late, but I'd like to hear your story, and please share a few words and you just shared with me. That's incredible.
Yes, absolutely, my honor. Yes, I started like October 2013, and I agree that you really have to go to the certified accountant who knows about business, because my experience, like I started October 2013 and I filed my income tax 2014. So I only work with, I've been in Global Wealth with 2 months, but with the proper documentations, you have to have a receipts and you have to have a proper documentations, like because it's my first time to file with a certified accountant. I normally do my taxes, but of course, if you have a business, you have to really go to a certified accountant who knows about business, basically. So from my file, but from my documentations, properly, you have to know what to declare, what to claim. Of course, if you have an income, you have to share. You have to declare that. If you have expenses, of course, 2 months in the company, it's more on expenses. And so basically, first time with a certified accountant. So there's so much questions with filing, but of course, you know what to claim, what to your receipts, everything. So from that I got additional 3,000 from the deductions because of it's more deductions from my income tax. So I got additional 3,000 with my refunds. Yeah, because of the tax write-off.
Nice. That's very nice. Thank you so much for sharing with us here.
Yes.
That is great. So, okay, I guess we have pretty much all the questions answered. And also, thank you, Glenn, for sharing your comments here. The cost of getting an accountant to do your taxes is also a tax deduction. Absolutely right. So, thank you so much. This call is recorded for those of you who asked. And I'm going to share the recording in a little bit once I convert it and upload it to the YouTube. Thank you everyone to be on the call tonight, and we are going to have this webinar again this the second Monday of the month. Please start to promote it and share with everyone that you know, and this is going to help a lot of people. Thank you so much, Robert, to answer all the questions. And and the lady actually still insists. Robert turned down the single lady proposal. Now the application come in from GWT guys.
I don't know. I don't get a leash now.
Yes, Sandra, you may do that.
Thank you for having me on.
Don't worry, I didn't mention your name. Okay.
I really enjoy being able to help everybody as much as I can. So if anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My wife said the lady from Europe has to lose my email address.
Right. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone, to be on the call. I will see you next Monday, our team call, for those of you who like to join us. Good night, everyone.